And welcome back to the Gadget Spot.
Hey.
Hello. 2 weeks? It feels like 2 years.
Woo! Yep.
Jarron, what are you doing over there with your hair and those headphones?
Well,
I wish you could see this, dear listener. It looks...
Take a picture and tweet it with the episode.
Oh.
Woo! Bam.
Maybe that is... Yep, I think that's the episode's picture now. Because I just can't not do that.
I can't hold this face forever.
You can't? Not
No.
long enough for this slow Snapdragon.
Are you serious?
There
It
you
took
go.
that long to take a
seriously.
picture?
It's bad. My phone's not that great anymore.
That's nuts.
The Pixel XL's been suffering. It's been randomly just deciding to quit for the day, and it'll just shut off.
You going to try to hold out?
I'm trying to hold out for the 4, not the 3A.
Why
Because the 3A has the headphone jack, which I really like.
Well, the 4 is not going to have a headphone jack.
I know.
I can almost guarantee it.
I know.
Why does Google have the worst battery issues?
I don't know.
Battery?
Yeah, it just like randomly it'll just be like I didn't think my battery was there, so I turned off. Oh, it's still there.
I must have missed that part of the conversation. Let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. This is the Gadget Spot where we talk about tech, video games, and gadgets. And over here we have Owen.
Hello, my name's Owen. You can follow me on Twitter @TechNoan. It's been a nice stormy week of rain, and that depresses me, and so I don't do anything but lay on the couch and wait for days to pass. So I didn't play any games. That's all.
That is sad.
Yeah, well,
Whoa.
yeah,
It has been really rainy in Utah lately.
yeah.
All right then, Jarron.
Do you think they could gamify psychiatric help?
Well, if they could, then Owen would be all over it.
Oh yeah! If they could make one that I could sit on the toilet and fix my emotional state.
That's called Angry Birds.
Oh, sorry.
That's me
It's
now.
you.
I'm Jarron. You can find me on Twitter @Jarron, and I'm actually playing a game right now.
As we speak, it's
yeah.
like a race car thing.
But it's for research. It's for scientific purposes. I'm playing Onrush on the PS4 with a Bluetooth controller via my iPad.
Whoa!
Yeah, I'll talk about it a little bit later. But I have been playing Shadow of the Tomb Raider on the PC. I mentioned last week that I fixed the crashing issues. Well, I fixed them even more now.
Are you done yet with that?
No.
Oh my
Is
gosh.
it distracting?
No. I mean Tomb Raider.
Oh, no. I'm only 25% the way through,
Oh.
which I think is a huge accomplishment for me that I'm 25% the way through. That
disagree.
game has way too many fetch quests. It's annoying. But other than that, I like the game.
Okay. That's what
Yeah.
that's all you've been playing though?
Yep. Oh, yeah, and I fixed the crashing issues. I redid the overclock on my graphics card, and it all works handy-dandy now.
Wow.
Yep, it was the overclock.
Look at this guy.
Corrupted somehow.
Huh.
Huh?
All right,
Huh.
we got a special returning guest, Conrad.
Hey guys, Conrad here. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter @con_radjujitsu. Yeah, I play. I since last time I was on the show.
Yeah, what have you been playing in the last 6 months?
Well, I graduated, and then I went out and bought a Nintendo Switch, like I said I was going to, and then I borrowed Zelda from you,
Yes, you did.
and I started playing that, and then I got lost after 10 hours in, and now I don't know where I am in the game, and I'm probably going to restart.
So you've had
Restart?
You've had my game for 2 months.
Yes.
And you've played it for 10 hours.
10 hours. Hey, I also started
That's a lot.
playing Rise of the Tomb Raider and catching up on my Steam backlog.
Rise of the Tomb Raider is the second one, right?
Yes.
That's a good game.
I like the first one best out of all of them,
I think
honestly.
I like the second one
I
best,
beat
actually.
the first one, so I've moved on.
Did you get the DLC for that one as well?
For which one?
The second Tomb Raider?
I don't know.
There's one, I think it's just called Baba Yaga, the Baba Yaga DLC. It's pretty cool.
I'll have to check it out.
I recommend it if you don't have it.
It's kind of scary.
Whoops. So yeah, that's where I've been and what I've been doing.
Nice.
I think that's all. How
All
about
right.
you, Tony?
Well, let's see. Check me out on Twitter @QuadTTony, or every other week here on the Gadget Spot, or every week on the Geek Show. Gaming wise, I'm on the final boss of Shadow Warrior. Yeah, that's what I was playing. 2. And then I dropped that one because I got Rage 2 when it came out. That's the Thrifty 50 for this month, and I've been playing that, and I think I'm going to review it this episode. I've put 15 hours into it, and I think I'm about 2/3 of the way done. So I'm going to give that a review later on in the episode. Other than that, I always plugging away at Destiny 2 here and there. That's always a good time.
You still playing that?
Oh yeah.
I need to get into that. I have that.
That's like the most bang for your buck right there.
I've put a lot of hours into that game. There's only 2 other games I can think of that I've played on the same like quantity level as Destiny 2, and that's Borderlands 2 and Witcher 3. So yeah, it's up there.
It's in your top 3 then.
It is.
All right.
It's definitely my top 3. At least currently, anyway. Let's see. That's pretty much all I do play. I'm on the 3rd episode of Tales from the Borderlands as well. Or maybe the 4th. Anyway.
Grab it while you can. It's been delisted from GOG.
I know. Well, I have it on the Xbox because it was one of the gold games like 6 or 8 months ago. So that's what I'm playing it on. And it's pretty good. Got to say, not too shabby. All right. Let's see. Rolling right into a Patreon.
Hey, Patreon.
Hey. Hey, Patreon.
Hey, Patreon.
Hey, patrons.
If you like us or love us or even just tolerate us and donate $6 or above, we'll read your name on the show. It's a way to give back to us if you like us and help support the show. It's like a tip jar of the digital variety. Yep. So here are our most beloved patrons. Here we go. AJ Jasper, David Broshinsky, and Aaron Young. Thank you. Josh Sidaway. Agree with James. Outlet camera is no good. Hardware, Adam Hecht, Ryan Baker, Aaron Faulkner. Sekiro is much harder than Bloodborne and Dark Souls. Adam Foote, Spencer Knowlton. I can make Jarron say anything for $6. Ryan McQueen, Michael Beck, Jeffrey Kale, Roger Allen, Austin Beauregard, Brian Lee. God.
Even when James isn't here because he's on
Sound
vacation.
like the ghost of James, maybe?
Yeah. Just hear him off in the distance.
And Conrad.
Hey guys.
Hey, Conrad.
Hey, thanks, Conrad.
Thanks,
I'm
man.
supporting myself on this show.
That's right. Well, you would be if we paid you anything,
That's true.
but we don't.
Can we watch?
You pay in friendship, Tony.
Yeah, hey, you're welcome.
Wait, you have to pay Tony for friendship?
Well, I mean, there's
Yes.
certain levels of friendship.
It's like friend bucks, like high fives.
yeah, like Conrad's up higher, much higher than most everyone else, especially you, Jarron.
I don't. Well, I give you Apple Music subscription and movies.
Tony's wife cuts my hair, so I just go $6 cheaper on what she charges me. I just say, take it up with Tony.
Is that what she was bugging me about last week?
I don't want to cut his hair anymore.
Weird.
He's a horrible tipper. Not really.
All right. Yes, thank you very much, Patreon backers. And then do we have any emails for this week? This is one of the fastest intros we've ever had.
Nope.
Sorry.
No emails?
This is the fastest intro and emails and Patreon we've ever had.
We got nothing.
Wow.
Well, we are recording early.
That's true. It is a Thursday night instead of a Monday night because we got the Memorial Day weekend, extended weekend coming up, and people had things going on, so we recorded early.
I doubt will get anything the next 3 days, though, because we
No.
usually don't.
Well, I mean, and to be honest, a lot of the stuff is kind of drying up right now because there's a whole lot of news coming in the next 3 weeks with
Calm before the storm.
yeah, several conventions and things.
Computex, E3, WWDC.
Yeah. Is when's GDC? Is that in the next month too?
Oh, I don't
Game
know.
Developer Conference? I can't remember. Anyway, there's a lot of stuff coming up. The beginning of summer is always packed with tech conventions and tech conferences. All right. Let's see. I guess I might as well lead off with Rage 2 and get that out of the way. Oh man, I want to love that game a lot more than I actually do. It's sad. So Rage 2 is made by Avalanche Studios, which is they're not like owned or anything by id Software, but it is published by id and Bethesda. And Avalanche uses its own engine, the Apex engine, which is the same engine that they used when they developed their Just Cause series.
Just Cause 4.
Yeah, Just Cause 4, Just Cause 3.
I don't think they use it for Just Cause 3. I thought, didn't they go to a new engine for 4?
Oh, well, if they did, it's just an iteration of their own in-house. They've been using their own in-house for several games now. And Mad Max, and they just had another one come out like 3 months ago that flew totally under the radar, and I can't remember what it's called. Something to do with an 80s motif and robots in the wilderness. I can't remember. Anyway, Rage 2 is what I've been playing. I'm 15 hours in. I think I'm about 2/3 done with the game. Apparently, if you just follow the main quest, from what I was reading, you can finish the game in like under 8 hours.
Hey.
Like, it's short. But the thing about Rage 2 is the best part of the game is the combat. The combat's really good. It plays kind of like Doom with super abilities.
That sounds good.
So that's the thing is, like I said, I want to love this game so much more than I do. because especially once you start unlocking the abilities and getting the better weapons, it's super fun. But the problem is I'm playing on PC, so I don't know if the experience is the same on consoles. From what I've read, it's actually not as bad on consoles, but there are times when you're playing that game on PC and it just totally janks out. The frame rate just tanks, especially if you're driving. If you're driving in this open world game, every, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 seconds, my frame rate goes from like 100, 120 down to like sub 40 and just janks along for about a second and a half.
That's a much bigger drop than what Digital Foundry was talking about.
Well, see, Digital Foundry played the game at 60 frames per second, and so they went from 60 to 40. And so I'm wondering if it just drops it down to that frame, that 40s, no matter where you're at. I don't know for sure. I tried everything to solve this problem, and after reading online from several other people, including Digital Foundry, it's going to have to be patched. That's just all there is to it. The graphics, I would say, are better than good, but not great. The textures are kind of weak up close, but the lighting's really good, and the like particle effects are pretty fun. But it's the performance. The performance just poops out. When you're on foot, I'd say 90% of the time it's fine. It's totally fine. There's 10% of the time where either you're running from one area to another and you can catch that load stutter. You know what I mean? Or sometimes just a whole bunch of stuff happens on screen and it poops out for about half a second.
This is why you never buy a brand new game.
That's exactly right. Unfortunately,
you can get it cheaper and it'll run better 1 or 2 months down the road.
And that's the thing. Like, if I wasn't reviewing this game, I would have stopped playing it after about 2 or 3 hours because it definitely feels like a game that'd be worth playing if it was patched.
How many hours did you put into it?
15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, and like I said, once you get some cool weapons and everything, it's really fun. The combat is super solid, and the abilities you get are really fun to play around with while you're fighting the bad guys. But it's just that, because of the performance, I would say it drops it down to like a 6 out of 10, 6.5.
Whoa, I don't think you've ever.
But you think,
rated anything
you think once it gets patched, it'll.
Yeah, when it gets patched and the
Optimize.
performance goes up, I jump it to an 8. 8.5.
Nice.
Because it is a lot of fun, and the art direction is really fun on it. You got there's several different areas. You have a swamp area, like kind of desert area, and you have your classic like ruined towns and things like that. And they have really neat contrasts of super bright fluorescent colors mixed with the dry browns and grays of post-apocalyptic world. And it's just like it's a lot of fun to look at, but that performance is just poopy.
So if you have it on console, check it out.
If you have it on console, you're probably fine. On PC, definitely wait a couple months, let them patch it up, and you'll probably be able to get it for like $40 instead of 60,
30 probably,
or 30 even.
Just cause games go so cheap.
Well, especially the fourth one, if you watch, because it didn't do that well.
Yeah.
And so they were trying to sell as many copies as they could, as quickly as they could. But anyway, there you go. Rage 2, way higher potential than what it really has right now. So hopefully they patch it up, and then I'll give it a solid 8. But as of right now, 6.5. Yeah.
That's up from 6. You just said 6, didn't you?
I said 6 or 6.5.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends on, I don't know, it just depends on how I'm feeling at the moment. Between a 6 and a 6.5, though. All right, let's see. So the obvious next place to go would be sausages.
Oh, yes. Owen's all about them sausages.
Yeah. I didn't put that in the notes.
Who put that in the notes?
That was me.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that Owen loves sausage.
Oh.
I love all manner of it.
Indeed, you do.
All
So
iterations.
It's getting weird.
Impossible Foods is back.
So they did burgers.
Yeah. Their second iteration of their burger is a hit. Mm-hmm. It's being rolled out at, I think, Carl's Jr. Burger King.
Yeah.
One of those.
Carl's Jr.'s got the Beyond Meat.
Beyond Meat is not good. I do not like the Beyond Meat.
Taco, no, Del Taco has it too.
I've heard
Beyond
the Beyond
Meat.
Meat.
Yeah.
I've heard
Beyond
Del
Tacos.
Taco. It's pretty good.
Oh,
From
gross.
what I've heard.
I won't try it.
I've heard the
scared.
Carl's Jr. one's not good.
No.
So maybe it has something to do with having it ground up versus in a patty form. I don't know.
So the Impossible Burger 2, there's good things. I hear good things about that, and they've released sausage, And so they're teaming up with Little Caesars for Italian sausage pizza. But yeah, they altered the recipe a little bit.
Added some spices. Basically, just added some Italian spices.
Yeah, that's
into
what,
their
yeah.
meat.
That's what it would be.
That's all that
Yeah,
is.
to give it the sausage flavor.
Yeah.
They put a basil leaf in there.
Yeah,
And
that's
now
it.
it's Italian sausage. But yeah, so their key flavoring comes from heme.
Heme?
Yeah, it's the blood-like soy leg hemoglobin.
Ew.
That's their secret sauce.
Yeah, that's supposed to make it be juicy like a burger.
And they removed the potato protein, and voila, you got sausage.
So I saw a funny a comic that was like a vendor selling meatless meat. And so somebody opened a vendor like next to him was selling vegetable-less vegetables. And so it was like meat cut into like cauliflower, like shaped like cauliflower. Yeah, cauliflower
Brilliant.
with no cauliflower.
People are like, I'm going to go eat there.
Yeah.
I would
Dude,
eat.
you know, the other half of the equation is like, well, I want meat, real meat.
I'm all for fake meat. It's a lot better for the environment, and if they do a good job, I'm willing to try it. I'm not going to say no.
I'd give it a shot if it's good.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's good, I'm down. But if they're just trying to fake it and it just sucks, well, that's lame.
Yeah.
This is how zombies are made. Like, we know that, right?
Right.
It's not the fake meat that turns the people into zombies.
No, it
The
is.
slow zombies or the fast zombies?
Any zombie.
I will not tolerate the fast zombies.
You
The
can
slow
all-
zombies, sure, why not?
You can always tell when you're talking to a fellow meat smoker. Hey.
It's true.
We're like,
But I will not try this meat ever.
No, meatless meat.
maybe we should smoke
This
it.
meatless meat.
Maybe we
You
should
just called it meat.
This impossible
You
meat.
agree.
this.
I didn't
this-
say it's not meat. They call it meat.
we don't have a
but
word for this yet.
Yeah.
we gotta Americify this and
I will not
think of
eat
a
it.
word.
I will not try it.
Son.
Teat?
If they did this to me, it would be that scene from SNL with Chris Farley where he just freaks out when he's like, "You're not drinking coffee," and he like
Drinking, what does he say?
like sugar crystals or
Yeah.
whatever. And he
Decaffeinated Colombian coffee crystals.
It would be that scene. I would freak out.
That's a way funny scene. Classic Chris Farley. Yeah, I don't know. I'd give it a shot when it makes it here, but I highly doubt it's going to be as good, as like
You never know.
sausage pizza. Although I did read a couple articles where people were given the Impossible Burger 2 from Burger King, and they said they couldn't tell the difference.
That's what I need. That's what I need. I'll eat it if I can't tell.
Yeah.
Nope.
But
You
I
still would
well,
nope it
I mean,
out of the distilled.
You guys being into smoking meat, obviously you're never going to get that same kind of
Oh
experience.
yeah, this is like the hamburger type of meat.
ground meat and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
I really like this. If they can scale it at a cost that doesn't affect, that doesn't just trade where the environmental footprint lands.
Oh, yeah.
Then
Then it
I'm
might-
all for it.
Sure, it'd be worth it at that point. But if you're just, robbing Peter to pay Paul kind
yeah.
of a thing.
From what I read, it's a lot more environmentally friendly compared to.
Yeah, I've heard that the carbon footprint for it is much smaller
That's good.
for that.
Cool.
It bounces like meat in this little GIF in the article. I mean, there's that patented jiggle.
That's how you know it's good.
Yeah.
It's got the meat jiggle.
It doesn't look like a fried hamburger though. I'm telling you right now.
Well, because that's sausage. That's not a hamburger.
oh, that's the sausage.
Yeah, that's the sausage.
All right.
The sausage is shaped just like a hamburger patty.
Yeah.
Because it's meant for breakfast sandwiches.
It's not like sausage links.
I was just
Yeah.
immediately thinking ground sausage for pizza,
Oh,
like
yeah.
what you talked about. But yeah, for breakfast sandwich, that makes sense.
It's just ground. Yeah, it's ground sausage.
Yeah. So this is pretty interesting. Owen, the one you put on there, how Rotten Tomatoes is policing their reviews. now.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
I think this is good.
I think it's a fantastic idea. So one of the things that Rotten Tomatoes suffers from, and most reviewers suffer from, is trolls. Right? People getting on there and just crashing the ratings for it or
Yep.
doing a review on it before anybody's actually seen it, and it's like the bane of like crowdsourcing like actual reviews.
Yep.
So now Rotten Tomatoes, one of the best out there. I mean, that's the one
They're definitely the most well known.
Yeah, I think they hit the public stream and went really far. They want you to validate your ticket.
They want you to prove that you've actually seen
They want
the
you
movie?
to prove to see it before
Thank
you just
goodness.
you know.
Nonsense.
Yeah, I had a friend that saw it, and his and I
He said
he
it was dumb.
gave me this is what he told me.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, you got to prove you saw it. I wouldn't be surprised in the future to see an actual like reviewer like link themselves to it. like be required. I know that like reviewers
What do you mean?
identify themselves on Rotten Tomatoes.
Do they grant exceptions to people with a beard growing out their neck?
Neckbeards?
Neckbeards?
I think they get
They're like-
rejected outright.
They're like, you know what? Submit your ticket or a quick picture of your neck beard. And if you do that, then you're in.
Well, we have to give you
Like,
space on the internet to yell.
yeah, every
just how it
every
works.
angry neckbeard needs a soapbox. Anyway, so yeah, I mean it's kind of a neat way to police that, and I think it's gonna really help at least clean up, if not clean up, but legitimize a lot more reviews.
So this was a big problem back when Captain Marvel came out earlier this year because the movie hadn't even come out and it was already at like a 1% on the user reviews for Rotten Tomatoes. And that was kind of the impetus that made them go, all right, we need to figure out a way to change
Right.
this. They just turned those reviews off for a while
I mean, if you're a
on Captain
neckbeard,
Marvel.
at least make sense with the timing of your review.
Yeah. You can't bomb it before it's out.
And I think that's the funniest part about this. Like they were like proving the system is broken. Like
Yeah.
they were just like, look, I reviewed it, and people still went, and like the reviews stinked. Anyway,
Stinked.
Stunked. They were horrible, and then those reviews stuck around, and people were
Right.
like, ugh, I'm not like, even after it had come out,
Yeah.
they had a lasting impression on the user reviews, or on the people reviews. It was
Yeah, it throws off the average.
yeah.
Big time.
Well, didn't Rotten Tomatoes almost get sued because of that fact? Because a studio was claiming that because of their review system that their opening weekend bombed.
Oh yeah, I can
Oh.
see that. I didn't hear the story, but
I don't think they were going to sue him, but they were just upset.
Yeah, I thought they like threatened, but there was like no lawsuit there. But
Right.
Mm.
I don't remember what movie it was, but it wasn't like a movie probably that had a leg to stand on. So they were like, "This is a Disney movie. We better fix
Yeah.
this time."
The previous movie was like a UA Bowl video game movie adaptation.
But they're like, but that better not. Disney basically said that better not happen to us, or else
He's just
We'll buy you.
misunderstood, okay?
we'll buy you.
He has his fans.
He does?
I don't know. A neckbeard somewhere.
Probably. Well, speaking of video game movies, this is actually a good one. Conrad, I want to talk about Detective Pikachu.
Yeah, we all saw it, right?
Did you see it yet?
Owen?
I didn't, but I
Okay.
probably won't. So if
Well,
there's
I won't spoil it. But
Okay.
it was a great show.
Okay.
I like Pokemon. I grew up collecting Pokemon cards and playing Pokemon on my Game Boy.
it was good though.
I liked it.
Okay,
It was.
I'll have to. I did want to see it. I just didn't know if I could do that and still without like a kid shield. Did you take kids?
No,
Okay.
I went middle of the day during lunch.
By yourself?
Yeah,
You were that creepy guy.
I went with some coworkers. We had fun.
You were those creepy people.
Yeah, there was 3 of us, and then there was like 2 other people in the theater.
Awesome.
It was a good show. There was a little creepy part with some weird looking eyes, so I wouldn't take my young kids to it.
Yeah.
'cause it'd
My
probably give 'em
coworker
nightmares.
took his 3-year-old daughter,
Ew.
and he
Did-
said that
did
she was
she get
crying
scared?
at the end.
Yeah, at the very end, there's some scary scenes, and that I was like, I'm glad because I wanted to take my son to it, but I figured I'd kind of preview it first.
So there was a game that came out a couple years ago called Detective Pikachu.
Yeah,
And apparently this is a pretty semi-accurate retelling of the story that was in that game. I had no idea. When we saw it with a couple friends, and she was saying that she knew the twist at the end.
Really?
Yeah, because of the game. Because not that she'd played the game, but she read about the game back in the day.
I don't see how they could possibly do
Oh.
a sequel because of the
No,
twist.
you can't. I mean,
I think this was like a one-time.
it's got to be
thing.
a one-off. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
make more Pokemon movies, just not direct sequels to this.
But I think on how well this one did, it'll probably lead to some more.
For
I think
sure.
it did pretty well.
For
It got
sure.
good reviews.
It's probably the best video game movie ever.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Was it?
I'm gonna wait for Sonic
Well-
to make that choice.
Oh.
Let's make that decision. I'm gonna see about how that goes.
I think second place
Ooh.
goes to Tomb Raider. They did a pretty good job on that one.
I never saw that one.
The new
It's
one.
good. Yeah,
Was it good?
yeah.
I'll have to check it out. I do like those
That
games
one stayed
quite a
pretty
bit.
close to the game I felt too.
Yeah.
Was it kind of a retelling of the
What-
first
First
game
one.
from the reboot, the
What about
Crystal Dynamics one?
Hitman was good.
Hitman was good.
All right, I was just going for reaction.
The
there.
first
I did,
one.
the first
Anything
one.
else was terrible.
I read an article, Timothy Oliphant, why he chose to star in that movie. He's like, my show just got canceled. I had a mortgage. So I'm like, F yeah, I'm doing this movie.
That's funny. So Hitman 2 came out and I went and saw it and it had like a 12% on Rotten Tomatoes or something.
Ooh.
And after I saw that movie, I made a rule that I will not see any movie that Rotten Tomatoes rates at under like 20% because
about-
it was so bad.
Well, that-
Critics rating.
yeah.
Yeah,
the
not
critics,
the,
right?
not the users.
Not the users.
No, yeah, the critics rating.
Well, I mean, are there any other good, not comic book, video game movies?
Mortal Kombat.
Maybe back when it came
Nailed
out.
it. Nailed it.
Yeah, that one.
I know Uncharted will be good.
Oh, it's not going to be good,
Oh,
Jarron.
it's going to be gold. Tom
I'm
Holland's
sorry.
in it.
For
And
now.
Sony made their own studio specifically for video games.
Is this movie going to be a part of that studio?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I was going to say,
But-
it's been in production for like 5 years.
Their heart is there,
Yeah.
and I'm judging that
Yeah.
it'll be good.
No.
There was a Street Fighter movie.
2.
Was there two of them?
There was 2. There was the first one was Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
And then
about.
there was a second one.
I didn't see this one.
The Legend of Chun-Li or something like
Oh,
that.
gee.
No.
And it had...
That sounds bad.
It had Kristen Cruick in it from Smallville,
Oh, yeah.
the girl that played Lana Lang.
Yeah.
And she played Chun-Li, I think.
I think
Oh, that one came out like way later, didn't it?
Yeah, a lot.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I
it
never
only
saw
came
that
out
one.
like 5 or 6 years
Yeah,
ago.
I never saw that
Maybe a
one.
little more.
I think Sony has its heart in the right place though with this new studio they're opening up.
You mean its heart and its wallet because it wants people that like their video games to go see their movies that are
No,
probably going to be terrible?
It's giving it's not giving the video game mantle to the Hollywood studios who just want a quick buck. From what I've read, that Sony is giving ideas time to coalesce, and hopefully the good video game movies will result from this.
I mean, I hope they do. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's specifically for the first party titles that Sony makes, right?
I think so. Yeah.
You guys remember when like Sony Studios was hacked and all their movies leaked online?
Yeah,
Yes,
that was
I do.
amazing. I mean, in a bad way, but it was still pretty funny. Like really egg in their face. Like
Wasn't that because of the interview?
supposedly the interview
Yeah.
with North
that was
Korea?
pretty
Yeah.
funny.
Well, and
Wonder
the
if that's going to happen again.
The thing about that hack was it exposed a lot of emails from people, like from actors to studio heads and things like that. And that was the funny one to read, stuff like that, because some of the things these guys said about other people, it's like, whoa, you're not holding back in that email, are you?
gloves are off.
Jeez. So, Prince of Persia was okay
that one was all right.
I saw it once.
with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
It was all right.
I don't remember anything about it, but I don't remember disliking it.
Yeah, it was forgettable. It was, but all right. Anyway, let's see. Also, I thought this was pretty cool. The NASA is giving you an opportunity to get your name on Mars. Did you guys read this?
Like-
It's
article?
a gimmick.
Like a scrap of metal with your name on it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much. So they have a laser that they can engrave on a few pieces of metal that's going on one of the rovers to Mars in the next 2 years, I think.
So you pay X amount.
No,
of dollars.
it's free.
Oh, really?
I already signed up.
You did it?
My name's going to Mars.
Oh,
Does this give you land on Mars?
No, it gives you a microscopic piece of metal.
in the
that
late
has-
in the late 90s or 2000s, there was a website selling real estate on Mars.
Yeah, but enforced by what? I wonder.
I don't know. Who cares?
Probably
I bought some.
You did?
No, I didn't. But I had
Well, he
it.
does invest in cryptocurrency.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I
If
wouldn't
it-
put
if
I
it-
wouldn't put it past him.
There's actual more tangibility in the Mars investment.
It's an actual piece of mass.
But yeah, you just I have the link to the article on Engadget. It'll be in the show notes. But you can go check that out. And there's a link in the article to NASA's website where you just put your name, email, and zip code, and then it gets it.
What are they driving at there? Just
They're
for fun,
Yep,
or
they're
not trying to data mine? Like,
No.
okay, what kind of people are supporting us?
They're
Like,
obviously drumming up PR for the space program.
okay,
I mean, that's all that it is.
and then they're gonna add your email to a mailing list. So that for like fundraising. I mean, what's the gimmick? What's the catch? What's the angle?
No, the email there is it's for the boarding pass that they send you a PDF with your name on it. It's like an airplane boarding pass to Mars.
So that means you can go to Florida and show it
You
to
just
NASA
hand-
and say,
yeah.
I'm ready.
Yeah, just give it to the guy
Like
at the
they
front
said,
of Cape Canaveral.
Take
and,
me to Mars
then
now.
they'll let you go. Wow.
So I just thought that was pretty cool.
Elon's like, why? How did I not do this already?
Elon could have charged like $5 a name, and people would have paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, could have kept Tesla afloat for another week.
No.
Wah, wah. Are they doing that bad right now?
There was a
Not
leaked
great.
memo from Elon Musk to the employees saying we have 10 months of cash left unless we do some major changes now.
When was this?
A week ago.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that is not good.
That is not good.
You regretting your
Still
cancellation?
still gonna
No.
get your car?
Not at all.
See, the problem with Tesla, which is also a good thing, assuming Tesla stays afloat, is it's a software. It's supported by software. It's like software as a service in a car,
Yeah.
right? And so if Chevy goes under, you still have your car. It still works, But if Tesla goes under, you no longer get software updates, right?
Well, your car will still work without the software updates.
But you
To what extent does their software ping Tesla servers,
Yeah.
and how
Well-
reliant is it on that?
I definitely wouldn't trust the self-driving aspect of it if Tesla went under.
like no more map updates.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
the car's like, well, there used to be a road here.
Yeah.
The government will probably just bail them out. It doesn't matter.
That'd be interesting if that happened again. I mean, they bailed out Chevy and Dodge.
Yeah.
I don't think Ford took any money.
No, Ford
that was their kind of claim to fame at the time.
They didn't. There's like bumper stickers.
Yeah.
They're funny.
So let's see. Oh, what was the other thing I was going to look at? Oh, yeah. So this was interesting that Owen put on. I saw this too, but I didn't put it on. But I'm glad Owen did. The Play Date.
I put it on there too.
Yeah,
Oh,
Jarron
is
did
it
too.
on
I didn't
Jarron's?
see. I
Oh,
didn't-
it's on Jarron's too,
I didn't
yeah.
see that before. Sorry, Jarron. And his were in before mine.
Now, this
But-
is
Oh, I put it on too.
Hey, look.
Hey, we are all in the
Conrad put it
know.
on
Oh,
too.
copy paste. Copy
But
paste.
Owen gets the credit.
Yeah, good job, Owen.
Yeah, me.
So the Play Date is interesting. We usually take a dump all over anything that's like new
Handheld,
consoles.
Yeah,
Because most of the time it's just vaporware.
it's
and-
weird. This
If it's-
this thing looks weird.
It is weird, and I'm not taking a dump on the execution of it, but maybe the product itself. It's
I would say yes, but
limited in scope, which is good for this.
I was
going
going to say that's what it needs. Is you have these other companies coming out, like the one that we dumped on last week, or not last episode of the week, or the episode before, the Mad Box
Box.
or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not ever coming out.
that was pie in the
Come
sky. A part of me loves this, and a part of me is like, why would I want this? I can't decide which it is in my brain.
Well, it's going to depend on if the games are any good.
Yeah. So what it is, unless you want to take it,
No,
Owen.
go for it.
No, go, Jarron. Go.
All right. So what it is, it's this.
No, wait, I want Owen to say it.
No, it's not going to be better.
Go, Owen. Go. This is all you, buddy.
I don't want to. You've done more research. Go.
Okay.
Jarron.
What this is, for the fifth time, it's this squarish mini Game Boy type console.
The weirdest thing about it, though, is the screen is offset.
Yeah,
Isn't that weird?
It's offset. It's completely yellow. It's like that really shiny plastic that looks like Chewy Sprees that,
that's
I just want to bite into for some reason.
That's a good description.
Yeah. So it has a black and white only screen.
Which I thought was really weird.
Not great. So it looks like it does shades of gray, at least. So it's
Kind of like the OG Game Boy,
Yeah,
except
kinda-
black instead of green.
like the OG Game Boy. It's much higher resolution, thank goodness.
Yeah.
But it's black and white only, and it has a hand crank.
Well, is that to power it?
So
When I first saw it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a cool idea. It powers it.
Gaming in the post-apocalyptic world.
You can game with it and power it at the same time. But no, it's just a different input method.
So the article that you posted is from Engadget, which is really cool, but the one on WCCF Tech has their actual fact. They actually interviewed them, and it talks about
Whoa, wait. WCCF Tech has a better article on this than Engadget?
yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. It's got like it explains what the cost is, what the size is.
Huh.
Talks about the screen and how it works and why it works,
Nice.
being just black and white, not having a backlight, and that it's a super.
It doesn't even have a backlight?
No, so I imagine the battery life will be through the roof on it.
Yeah.
They
talk-
haven't rreleased battery life specs, but it'll probably
Right.
be very, very long.
But they have. But if you go to the other article, it actually has them talking about it, like what processors inside, what OS is this running on. They've made it custom. This is made by Panic.
Jaron, just go ahead and delete yours out of
So-
the
No,
notes.
but the thing is, they don't say what processor's in it.
No.
They don't say what OS it is because they developed it themselves.
It says real beefy. That was the
Yeah,
official answer.
that's the official
Real
answer is
beefy.
I
real
love
beefy.
that processor.
Yeah, that's a good one.
think that's a knock on
But
Impossible Meat.
all it has is a D-pad, an A and B button, and a hand crank. It looks like there's another button kind of by the screen, but they don't say what that is. It might be an on-off, who knows. But it's a very attractive looking device. Like, it does not look like your typical handheld device.
Jarron wants to chew on it.
I want to chew on it. Seriously, I want to put it in my mouth for some reason. But the game that they show, it's yeah, you can quote me on that out of context. So the game it has that they show, it's like this, I don't know, robot-looking thing, and it moves by turning the hand crank. And I really don't know what else goes on in that game. But that's a scenario for the hand crank.
Probably going to be a fishing game.
I was thinking that there's got to be a fishing game.
So this thing is 2 inches by like 3 inches by about 0.02 inches thick. They have 74 by 76 by 9 millimeters.
Weird
Thanks
dimensions.
for your Canadian
It's very
listeners.
yeah.
They'll know what you mean. now.
Yeah, I Americanized the numbers into our
Freedom
inches.
units.
seriously superior measuring scope.
Yeah, freedom units are the best.
So it'll ship in early 2020. Should cost $149. And like Owen said,
Wow.
it should come with a season of games. So they'll release a new game every week for 12 weeks, and it comes with the device.
Your season starts as soon as you power on the device. That's your season. So,
So it unlocks separately for each person?
yeah. So
That's
as soon as the
interesting.
device comes on, and you can go back and get games that have already been released, like in a previous season that before you got it. So you can go back and
So
get
it does.
Well-
it can like interface with a computer, so you can
Yeah,
update it. And
it-
stuff
It's got
like that.
Wi-Fi.
It has
and Bluetooth,
Wi-Fi.
Okay,
Bluetooth
okay.
5 Wi-Fi. So that's how they're going to drop games, and the games are all secret. So they're not going to talk about them. They're not going to release. They're not going to give like hints to them. They're just going to drop these games, and the games are created by. I want to say they're side projects. I'm not really into the indie game scene, but I imagine that there'd be like some indie gamer that's got something pretty successful, and then they come and they drop like a little side game for this, and they're contracting this as kind of a fun side gig.
I remember reading in the article I read about it that one of the game developers that's working on a game for it is the guys that did. It's a really good walking simulator game that takes place in the forest.
So
Why can't I think of the name of it right
so
now?
Firewatch.
Yeah, Firewatch. That's the game.
No, they're the company that's making the device.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so they've put on indie developers that have made Getting Over It,
Okay.
Katamari Damacy.
Oh,
How do you say
Katamari
that?
Damacy?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
These are actually like games that if you know anything about indie games, you'll recognize
Yeah.
a lot of these developers.
Keita Takahashi, Bennett Foddy, Sean Inman, Zach Gage.
This
Those
is
are some of the artists on there.
And this is the kind of stuff that I think, okay, this might go somewhere because they're not promising just crazy pie in the sky stuff.
Yeah.
And the price is not cheap, but not expensive either.
This is the part that gets you though. So it's $149 for the device,
Yeah.
and
So you
a
get-
season is
So you
what they
get 12
say.
games
12
for that
games.
$149.
And that's where they'll kind of keep the cost end over end, like as a
A
business model,
recurring
cost, which is in
But
this day and age.
I
what
mean,
you
if
need
you
to
think
be
about it,
successful.
you think about it like you buy a DS or a 3DS or we'll say like a Switch or whatever. I mean, they're not really comparable to this, but the point I'm making is you pay $300 or $200 and you get no games most of the time.
Right.
You know what I mean? With this, you get for $150, you get the system and a dozen games, which if they're good games, that's pretty good bang for your buck.
Yeah, so the jury's out on the quality of the games.
Obviously, yeah. Since what's the release time frame on this thing?
Early next year.
It's got a ways out then.
Yeah, it's got a ways out.
Okay.
And they've committed to one season. Depending on how well it does, they may open up a store. They might do another season that you have to pay for. They haven't really made it clear yet.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, here's what what is the crank for? This is from them. Think of the crank like an analog stick, but one you can turn endlessly. It tucks into the device nicely and adds a new element of playdate games that can't be found anywhere. A new element to playdate games that can't be found anywhere else. It does not charge the device.
That is the part I'm skeptical of. Like, a crank can only do so much.
Yeah.
Right.
You'd have to get pretty dang creative from a developer standpoint.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see
This
what they do.
first game is like a time game, and so the crank is used to roll time forward and backwards. That's what
That's kinda creative.
The first game. So you're walking forward and back, like you're rewinding time.
But fishing, they got to do a fishing.
They got to do a fishing game. If they don't,
back time.
exactly.
Plays 80s music too. Yes.
Does it have a speaker? Is there actual sound?
Yeah.
It's got a headphone jack, doesn't
Headphone jack, USB-C, has a speaker.
Sold.
it? USB-C?
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
Now you want it.
I just
thing's-
buy all the devices that have headphone
This
jacks
thing's
so I
got
can have them
This
before
thing's
they go away.
got it's got better features than an iPhone.
That's what I was gonna say.
USB-C, headphone jack, crank.
If they made it a color screen, I would be all over this idea. For some
Yeah.
reason, the black and white screen really turns me
Well,
off.
here's the thing. I would agree with you usually on something like this, but when stuff is developed specifically for black and white format, they can make it pretty dang cool. For instance, comic books. I don't hate, but I usually severely dislike black and white comic books. I like color comic books, right? But most of it's because when I was growing up, most of the ones I read were reprints, and to just be cheaper, they were reprinted in black and white. But my first experience with a comic book that was made from the beginning to be a black and white comic book was Walking Dead. And the art in that series, up until I think I stopped reading around like issue 100, really good. Even though it was black and white, I was still way into it. So, I mean, since it's black and white from the get-go and they're not trying to port games over and things that were already color, I think it won't bother you, honestly.
Yeah, I'll probably still buy one because, that's just how I am.
It's true. You saw a scooter online today.
What? I forgot.
And you totally bought it within 3 minutes of sending me a link.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Let's tell us about that.
Oh,
We'll
do
add
I-
it to the show notes later.
I don't have to.
Oh, you don't want to?
Segway is putting out a new scooter on Indiegogo.
You sure don't sound happy about it.
I'm happy about the scooter. I'm just not happy with myself. With
the impulse buying.
yeah. So it'll go 40 miles on a charge, which is amazing.
That's pretty good.
18 miles an hour.
That's also very good.
If you live in the United States. And they made it water resistant, so that they've tried to make it more rugged, for the
So you can go through a puddle.
birds out there that just get thrown into a lake or whatever.
Trash piles.
Many lakes.
And it has cool software features. You can lock it with your phone so someone can't steal it. I mean, I guess they could still pick it up, but it wouldn't work for them. And it has Bluetooth connection, so you can update the firmware. It has the charger built into the device, which is nice. So all you would have to carry with you is a cord.
Oh, that is nice, yeah.
Yeah, so it has a lot of really cool upgrades from your typical ho-hum scooter.
They need to do a wireless mat, a charging mat for a scooter where you just park your scooter on it and it charges it.
That would be cool.
There you go.
Also has shocks. It also has tires that don't puncture, so it's a more comfortable ride.
So what are you
With
going to
the
do with
shocks.
the scooter?
What?
What are you going to do with it?
Asking the tough questions.
Like, why'd you buy it?
Well, I already have a scooter, so I use a scooter.
So why did you get this one?
I don't know. So the thing is, if
Was
you
that a scooter on the porch? Was that really yours?
no, that's my son's. My scooter's in the garage.
Oh.
He
Yeah.
keeps the good stuff in the garage.
But anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Oh yeah, there's special early bird pricing.
How much was it?
$200 off. Normally $800. I got it for $600.
Okay.
And I can cancel within the next 29 days. So I figure might as well get in while it's good for the early bird pricing. And if I decide that I'm an idiot, which I probably am,
already
I can
have.
cancel anytime. Yeah, I can cancel. I'll cancel.
That's the way. That's the James way.
It's getting
We
really
love you, James.
defensive. No, James buys it and then returns it.
Yeah.
That's
I just buy it and then cancel
Yeah, the
it.
Jarron
right.
way is buy
That's
it.
right. That's right.
Buy it, feel buyer's remorse.
Cancel
and
the
then
order.
Cancel it before it ships.
That's right.
Yep. But I could drive all the way to work and back without even charging it.
Are you going to?
2 times.
Are you going to take it to work and back?
2.5 times.
I'm
He
just
won't
curious.
He won't do that.
Because that would be cool. I'd be like, oh, sweet.
I
But-
saw somebody driving a scooter away from work, and it made me think I could do that if I had a better scooter.
I did like on that.
You got that cool helmet hat coming.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
I hope.
That's not coming. I did like on the Kickstarter or Indiegogo page for it. It showed you the cost of driving like a mile in a car versus I think a motorcycle versus the electric scooter. Did you see that? If you scroll
Yeah.
down to the bottom, and it says like you save $168 a year by driving your scooter.
It'll pay for itself in 4 years.
In 4 years, it'll pay
you
for
gotta
itself.
calculate-
Just
You
on
gotta-
1 mile trips.
You gotta calculate in how much your time is worth.
Yeah.
Which I'm like Trump. I set my own value. So
So your time is worth.
yeah,
a
I'm
lot.
like, look, I am worth probably 2-3K a minute.
Of ether.
Whatever, Ether, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, whatever. It doesn't matter. But yeah,
Raven coin.
yeah, Raven coin, which
or maybe Sia.
yeah, 0.002.
You're worth $1 million of Sia to me, Owen.
Yeah. Oh, that's like
That's
$1.
That's $200.
yeah.
Look at this guy. I don't know if it's $200.
I'd give up $200 to save your life.
Aw.
It might be more than that. It might be like 2,000.
Yeah, I would not do that.
I mean, so like the value of that when they're like, you save this much, you're like, well, yeah, but how much time do you waste going 18 miles an hour?
Yeah.
Like it turns
It turns your
it turns your 10-minute commute into a
30-minute.
30-minute.
Yeah.
yeah, my time's worth that.
Yeah, I would that. I mean, at $3K a minute, I've already bought like 10 scooters by the time you got to work. So don't quote me on that. I'm not actually worth that much at all. Please don't ever.
I don't
mean, unless you wanna
understand your
give me-
math, but I like it.
Yeah, it's up there. You don't have to understand. You just have to believe it.
All right. So this was weird. I saw this the other day too. In the story in here you have about Google Glass.
What are they
it's
doing?
a zombie.
They're a zombie. They pulled it from. They were like, rise, and they
Rise
pulled.
from your grave.
They pulled Google Glass right out of the graveyard. In fact, I'm almost tempted. I'm not going to because I'm lazy, but to go check the Google graveyard to see if it's still there now.
That'd be a good question. 'cause
I guess the
this is
older
like-
version
yeah,
was,
this
but
is like 2.0. Or
yeah, this is the newer version. They're only doing it for enterprise and for commercial. You can't buy this as a private user anymore.
Right.
And
It's
so you have to
bigger
buy in
now.
bulk. Yeah, it's much bigger.
Why
It's
is it
got
bigger?
Bigger battery, much bigger battery. And I don't really know what else. I didn't really look at it.
Well,
it was
the-
really just the spectacle of them messing with the fabric of reality and bringing something back out of the Google
It's
graveyard.
cheaper too.
Right.
It's not 1,500. It's 1,000.
And there's not really anything to do with it. They're not supporting it as far as like apps go. If you want to do something with it, you have to basically code something for it to do on your on a corporate level.
So the old one had a Intel Atom, which was a sucky
Yeah.
processor.
terrible.
Sucky.
Yep. This one has a Snapdragon XR1.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Quad core 1.7 gigahertz. They say it's built on a 10 nanometer process. They say it's significantly more powerful.
And
than the old
uses less power.
Yeah.
Yep. 3 gigs of
That'd
RAM,
be the big
32
thing,
gigs
I
of
think.
storage, 8 megapixel camera, USB-C, Tony.
3 gigs of RAM, you say?
Yeah.
That's
and
pretty good.
Bluetooth 5. And the optical module is 640 by 360.
Run an Android
Huh.
8 Oreo. That's
8, not 9.
Yeah.
It must be like a super modified version of 8.
Yeah.
They probably just didn't want to move over to 9 yet. It is a lot bigger though. Like you look at that picture, and it's like the right side of the frame is monstrous.
I always loved this idea
is.
of Google Glass. I wanted a pair really, really bad when they first came out because I thought that would just be so cool to be riding around like on a motorcycle or on your bike and be able to like pull up a HUD in the glass so, like for the maps. What? Nerd! It hurts. That hurts, Jarron. Anyway, I really wanted one. But then that whole hype about, are you recording me? Like,
Oh yeah.
that was like the hype that kind of killed Google Glass was privacy, where people were like, you can't record me unless I give you consent, and I can't
Right.
tell if you're recording or not.
There's a lot of businesses that wouldn't allow them in their
Yep.
offices, things like that.
Yep.
The original Google Glass was like, that's a computer? That's crazy. This one's like, oh yeah, that's definitely a computer.
There's a gigantic
Yeah.
thing on the side of my face.
Well, have you seen the ones that Bose is trying to make?
Uh-uh.
I think there's. I'd have to see if you can pull that up, Conrad. There's a set. They just look like thick framed sunglasses.
Those?
Yeah. No.
No?
Wait.
AR frames?
Yeah, AR frames.
The coolest audio.
Oh yeah,
AR?
those are those.
Augmented reality.
So I can't remember. Does it actually have an image that you see, or is it just sound? Because it is supposed to transmit sound through bone conduction.
Right. But
But
it's
I
got to
don't-
be. It's got to be. If it's AR, if it's augmented reality, then
gotta
they're
be-
putting something out there where
it's
you'll
gotta be
see-
visual.
It
Yeah.
says it's
Yeah.
audio AR.
Oh,
I don't know
okay.
what that means.
Well, never mind. I
Right.
was wrong then.
Somebody speaks into your ear.
Yeah, that's basically.
So-
it's like
AR audio sunglasses.
audio AR, a headset.
Augmented,
are a great
augmented
person.
reality.
They're
Audio?
$200 if you're interested.
Okay.
I was until I found out they're just.
They're like, we take the audio around you and we add other things. Like, say you're by a babbling
weird.
brook and you want to hear some birds with that. We're gonna add some bird song into that.
You are listening to birds. You
No,
are
birds
listening
here.
to music.
That's the
Chirp, chirp.
AR of the future. When all of our animals go extinct, we can
I gotta
add
say,
those
is
in.
there 2 models right there? Those
Yeah.
are ugly. Those are
So-
super ugly. Those ones look okay.
My coworker, his neighbor works for Bose, and he keeps telling me that they're doing a lot in like sound audio and trying to figure out like a new edge. And investing a lot here in Utah. I think they're building like a whole new factory and stuff here.
I'll tell you what they
Utah?
need to
Or,
invest in.
Not factory, but
Research and development.
research and development.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. They need to freaking invest in getting some.
Shout out to you.
What do you call
know
it? Sound Sport Freeze or what are they? They're
What?
totally Bluetooth earbuds. They don't have
Bose
a
has
cable.
them?
Yeah, Bose has them. I have a pair. They suck.
Like those new Power Beats 3s. Those
Yeah,
look nice.
I-
Want
They
those.
do look nice.
They look way good. The
Anyway.
Bose ones though, they sound good. I mean, they're Bose, but
Right.
the connection on the left ear, because it daisy chains,
Yeah.
like most of them do. I
Yeah.
think all of them, pretty much all of them,
And
do
they all
that.
have that issue, right?
Yeah,
Like all the ones I've
all of
tried
them
all
except
do that.
Jabra.
Jabra's.
The
I still get it.
Jabra-
I still get it depending on where my phone is. But
Jabra?
Jabra.
Is it Jabra? Jabra?
I'm just kidding.
Well, whatever.
Ah,
98% of the
Jokes.
time those Jabras are perfect.
yeah.
Jabra.
Ah, yes. But the Bose ones, man, they cut out a lot on the left ear, like a lot.
I was hoping I could find out and try some of those new 85Hs that Jabra did. The noise canceling over the
Oh,
ear.
the over the ear ones.
They look really cool.
The reviews I've read on those say they're pretty snazzy.
Yeah.
And they have a 30-hour battery life with active noise canceling
Right.
on. That's crazy good.
So back to the Google Glass. I think these would be cool, especially in enterprise, because if you like, let's say you pull up to a job site and you have like a rendered 3D model or something. You have it loaded at like you could jump out of the car. It loads up in your glasses. There's something that you're there specifically to do. Like you can just see everything. It takes you right over to where you need to be.
Imagine port tracing or whatever when you come up to a stack of network
Yeah.
cables and you're like, which one? And it's like
Oh.
lights up or whatever.
That one.
See, that's what the thing that Microsoft
be
was
sweet.
trying to sell the HoloLens for
Right,
was
yeah.
the augmented reality things when you're fixing stuff and stuff like that. And yeah, if they could get those going, that would be a way cool.
If they can make them look better first.
Yeah,
Well, you
So,
could apply it to anything that
I
you could
can't-
do. Anything you could do a wireframe to, like even fixing
Yeah.
an engine or like anything.
Yeah,
They could
and
like
that's
say,
what-
pull this bolt here.
Yeah.
You know.
And I can't remember if I told you guys that I actually got to try out some HoloLenses, a headset probably 3 or 4 months ago, and they were not good.
Really?
Like the field of view was.
Did Clippy come out?
So narrow.
I wish it would have been interesting.
Looks like you're trying to view AR.
I live here now.
Look, they brought me back. But yeah, so the field of view was just super narrow. Not even like from a side point of view. I'm talking about up and down. Like it was looking through a mail slot slit,
Oh,
basically.
man, that's not very good.
It was not good. And the opacity also was pretty weak sauce. Like
So you could see through them, but
Yeah.
then you like it was too much or too
you
little.
could see through the objects they're trying to show you as
Oh,
well
right.
too much. So like it didn't feel like an overlay as much as just like stuff in your eyes. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I don't know. Now that was first gen. I wish they had the second gen. I wanted to try those out, but overall, I got to say I was not impressed in the 5 minutes I was using them. But maybe that's because they need to be like, what's the word? Adjusted for each person more. Maybe I don't know.
Right.
But AR definitely has some crazy good potential, though. Like Conrad was saying, I think. So I think speaking of things that have potential but just can't seem to get there, streaming games in your house from one device to another, it just sounds so good,
You would think.
but it just doesn't ever hardly work out good. The only time I've ever had a pretty good experience with it was actually with the PlayStation and my iPad.
Yeah, that's pretty good on the PlayStation with the iPad.
Yeah,
I used to do it with like my PSP and my PlayStation 3.
and that was pretty good
That was-
too.
that was good.
I mean, even past the novelty factor, it actually worked pretty well.
Yeah.
So
Like years ago, I used to play Destiny on my Vita,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like near no lag at all.
Near native.
Yeah.
But recently Steam has released their app for the
so it's not recent, right?
no
They
like-
released it
Apple pulled it.
Apple pulled it.
But
now
they-
they got it back on.
That's right. It's re-released recently.
Well, it's released to the public for the first time for iOS.
Yeah.
So
It's
I-
been on Android for like a long time.
Yeah, I gave it a shot because I have an Apple TV upstairs, an Apple TV in my basement, all hardwired. My computer's hardwired, so I thought this will be a pretty good experience. I'm excited.
Should be like almost no latency with that setup.
Yeah, you would think. So I got it going, and I must say it's pretty janky to get it going. You have to put in a code into Steam once you boot it up on the Apple TV. So you have to go back to your computer and to input the code. So after that, I'm like, oh, this should be smooth sailing from here. Nope, it was not. It would not. So my computer would not go past the lock screen. So I would have to go to my computer to put in my PIN before I could start using it, which is not ideal.
No.
And I could only get the sound to work 20% of the time.
20%?
Yeah.
Wow.
I couldn't figure out why. I couldn't get it working reliably. So sometimes it would work, sometimes it wouldn't, and I wouldn't know why. So finally, one time I got it working. I was playing Doom at 4K on the computer. The Steam Link will only do 1080p, by the way, which isn't the biggest deal, whatever. But the input latency was not good. Like Doom will run like 120 frames per second on my computer.
Yeah.
So it was going at 60 frames per second because that's it'll cap it.
That's the
at
max.
60. Yep. And so I was playing with a SteelSeries controller hooked up to my Apple TV via Bluetooth, and there was detectable lag, so much so that I couldn't reliably jump onto platforms in Doom.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, it was not good. And I was sorely disappointed because, like I said, I was hardwired into everything. And I have more than enough power to drive everything. And it just wasn't a good experience. I guess technically I could use my Xbox controller just hooked up to my computer.
Did you try that? Does it work better?
I haven't tried it. I don't know if the range would reach all the way upstairs to,
No, probably
to my
not.
basement.
You'd go across the room here like this, though.
Yeah, but why would I want to play on the TV when my PC's just right behind it?
Huge screen. More bigger.
Yeah, but not as good resolution, and
Okay.
it doesn't do HDR. Oh. But yeah, not the best of experience. I tried the PS4 to the PS Share app. What's it called? PS4 Remote Play app on the iPad with the same Bluetooth controller, and it's like flawless. Like the input latency is not there at all. It's great. So whatever Sony is doing, they're doing it right.
Yeah, which is weird to me because they're out of all the companies that we've tried this with. I've tried the Nvidia one when I had a Shield TV. I've tried the Steam one as well, and the PlayStation one, and I feel like I'm missing one in there somewhere. Anyway,
The Xbox to the PC.
oh yes, that was it.
That one's the worst of them all, I think.
Out of all the companies on there, you would think, oh, Sony's the least experienced in that kind of thing. They're going to
Right.
be the worst. They're by far the best
Yeah.
out of those four.
It's whatever they're doing, it's just so good, and everyone else is so behind.
It's weird. So let's see. I'm curious here about. Well, actually, no. I want to do this one first. Have you guys been keeping up with the Huawei problems?
Ooh, they're not doing good. People are abandoning ship on, like, not good.
Yeah. So there
Google
There-
left them, right?
Even
was
ARM.
There was an
Yeah.
executive order passed down by His Supreme Cheeto-ness that said that
It does look like someone just threw a bag of Cheetos at his face.
it does. He's no longer, Huawei is no longer allowed to do business with American-based companies.
Do so at your own risk.
Do so at your own, yeah. And so that basically cuts Huawei off from Google, who produces their OS. That cuts Huawei off from Qualcomm, who does their modem chips.
How are they going to make chips now?
So they do their own CPUs,
Right.
The Kirin processors.
But it's based on ARM architecture, and even though ARM is based in the UK, they also cut ties with
ARM
Huawei.
cut. I didn't hear that.
ARM,
Yeah.
ARM was the latest. This week they were like, see ya.
Oh my goodness.
So they can't even develop their own processors anymore.
So here's the other thing about Huawei though is they are a huge company. They're the number 2 smartphone manufacturer in the world.
But they do a bunch of other stuff too, right?
But they do a whole lot of other stuff. A
like
lot
the
of
MateBook, they do a lot of. They
do
have a laptop line.
laptops.
The
Yeah.
MateBook is so good.
And they do networking equipment.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And this all started over the phone piece of their company, right? Because their phones were supposedly being installed with some sort of allegedly Chinese spyware or something.
Right.
And they didn't.
There was questions about their networking equipment.
They basically wouldn't open the box and let people look inside, and so then the U.S. made their announcement.
Yeah, and so that's the thing that's interesting, because a lot of the time we have this just idea that some of these huge companies are too big to fail. And I'm not saying Huawei is going to fail now, because chances are something will change and they'll be granted access to work with American companies again. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but last year or 2 years ago, they did this with ZTE.
They did
as well, which is another smartphone company out of China.
They just do it to drive a better deal.
And that it's definitely well, at least ZTE I think was. I don't know about Huawei.
With ZTE, it was leverage for better.
No, I can't remember what ZTE was specifically, but they basically got told the same thing, and it took, I think, 3 weeks before they were able to work with U.S. companies again, because they, did whatever it was that the U.S. government wanted them to do. But it's interesting. So that's the thing, and the other part of it is the laptop and things all use Intel chips. American-based company.
Right.
Microsoft Windows, American-based company.
Do you think those companies will eventually drop off from there? I mean, they
already have.
Have they already? They've already stopped working with them?
Yeah.
Oh.
And so that's the crazy part, is they basically got the rug pulled out from under them completely.
What's the deal? Is it either let us in and forsake your Chinese government, or what were the stipulations? Do you remember?
I don't.
I know that they're definitely supported by the Chinese state. Like the Chinese state is supporting them.
So isn't the problem that they collect data that they have to send back to China, and then because the Great Firewall of China, Chinese government can read and review any of that data that's coming into the country?
Yeah,
that's the impression I got. It was based off of.
Yeah. And so
they would have to, I guess,
stop sending
somehow
data
prove
back
that
to
they're not doing that
or
anymore,
move their company out of China, which they couldn't
That'll
do.
never happen,
right?
No, because that company is very closely tied to the
because
the
China. One of the rules, one of the policies in China is that to do business in China, you have to forfeit your IP, your intellectual property is forfeit over there. That's why. But they do try and control those fake devices or whatever they use the IP for from getting out. But you can get an iPhone over in China for pennies on the dollar compared to over here.
No,
they're cheaper.
Not the real iPhones.
No, not the real ones, but the exact same hardware, like the exact same
Not
build.
the software, though.
No, not the software.
Yeah. That's a whole nother story that's really interesting. There's some guys on YouTube that live in China that I've watched some of their videos, and they have these. So sometimes what happens in China is they have these what they call third shifts in these factories, and basically these are the factories that make almost all of our equipment, our electronics.
Right.
And they'll have this quote unquote third shift where they run through the night producing the same stuff they produce during the day, but not marking it with the manufacturer's stuff.
Right.
Whoa.
And they build more electronics based on that and sell them on the black market.
Right.
Very interesting.
Right. That's cool. I mean, that's like pirate. That's pirate. That's pirate cool.
Owen wants in.
That's pirate. I would never. Have you heard about the living conditions and the working conditions of these factories?
Oh, dude.
They have to guard windows so people don't jump out.
Some of the Foxconn plants have nets installed around the buildings.
Yeah.
So that if people try to jump off the top of the building, they get caught in the nets.
Yeah.
They sound nice.
That's nice of them.
Some nice nets.
So an article on The Verge says, I'll just read the paragraph here, but it says the first wave of concerns about, how do you say it? Huawei had more to do with cell towers than cell phones. Huawei is one of the main suppliers of network infrastructure alongside Ericsson and Qualcomm. As carriers raced to build out 5G networks, lawmakers rushed to keep Huawei hardware out of whatever was being built. It says there was never any evidence that there were any backdoors in their phones.
Right.
But
the potential. So
they
so
said
basically
it all has to do with 5G.
Right. So basically, instead they didn't want any Huawei gear in the cell towers for the new network for the 5G.
That's what
network.
it looks like. But I'm just skimming over an article here
Right.
because I was curious. On
That's
this.
interesting. So basically, they're just like, okay, fine. Well, we don't want their cell tower stuff, so nothing. We'll just make it
Right.
easy. Nothing.
I mean, because if you own the cell towers, you wouldn't have to hack any phone. You could
That's true. You'd
all
already-
phones.
you
You just
already
created a
have-
backdoor in all phones.
you'd have the pipe,
Yeah.
the info pipe right there. Very
Info
interesting. All right. So what's this synthetic life, Jarron? I've always been interested in this kind of stuff because this is like science fiction realm.
Yeah, it's creepy. Like super creepy.
Creepier than Impossible Foods. Come on,
Fake
that's
meat,
disgusting.
fake meat, fake life.
So yeah, scientists, they have created the world's first living organism that has a fully synthetic and radically altered DNA code.
This is also how zombies are made.
This is how it
I'll
starts.
more
if
agree.
that thing eats the meat,
right,
Yeah.
then we're done.
the not meat. Sorry,
the meatless meat.
sorry, Jarron. Go ahead.
So they took an E. coli bacteria and
coli?
Wow, way to start with something nice and safe.
it's a basic unit of bacteria. It's easy to work with.
And deadly.
It's a good
Continue.
coworker.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Keep
So
going.
anyway, they took out DNA letters and then put in synthetic ones. And I really don't know how that works because
They
I'm
used CRISPR
So-
to cut them in and out.
It sounds
I'm
like
an accountant, dang it, not a scientist.
they took out some of the DNA and replaced it with synthetic DNA.
Yes.
So it's not that they made.
Whenever they came across the TCG pair, apparently a codon that makes an amino acid called serine, they rewrote it as AGC, which does the same job. And so they completely redid that, and the bacteria is living. It's
Thriving.
synthetic, apparently.
Waiting to kill somebody.
Yes. They say the bug is a little longer than normal and grows more slowly, but survives nonetheless.
Huh.
So, it's like a super virus.
so nature did it better because it grows more slowly, and it doesn't grow quite as fast.
No, that's the synthetic one.
That's what I'm saying. So
yeah.
nature did it better.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, I don't know if I like this.
Yeah.
if I'm being honest.
It's creepy.
I like the gene editing technology that we're going through because I think that's going to be a huge way to cure some of these genetic illnesses that people are plagued with.
See, I agree with you, but
It's just super dangerous.
it's very dangerous, especially when you get into the gene editing of embryos.
yeah,
Yep.
designer
And
babies, right?
designer
Xenomorphs.
babies. Yeah, and creating xenomorphs of the
I would
baby.
like
No,
those eyes and that hair.
I want my kid to make. I want you to guarantee.
I would
my
only
kid
change the
has-
size of one part.
What part would that be?
My ears are way too big.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
it'd be like though. Say you're rich, so you decide I want all my children to have 180 IQ, and
Right.
and if they
Just
could
watch
do that,
Gattaca.
yeah, pretty much, yeah. And so you end up with several different classes of people: those who can afford the gene editing and those who can't, et cetera, et cetera. All of a
Like those
sudden you
books
have-
are fun to read, but that wouldn't be very fun in real life.
Yeah, all of a sudden
I'm
you're
not
living
rich enough for that.
You're living in a dystopia,
Right.
and so, scary.
Way to bum us out, Jarron.
Thanks, Jarron.
Okay.
I have some funnier biohacking news in that same vein.
I like that.
So this guy, CEO, I gotta pull up his company, but let's say genetic self-experimenting biohacker has been fined and is now under investigation by the FDA because he sells and or makes available CRISPR units and this type of hardware that's only designed for like laboratory use.
Mm-hmm.
He's making it available. He's got this company and he buys this medical equipment, makes it available to like these DIYers.
Oh,
It's what's his name? Josiah Zahner, and he runs a company called the Odin.
look, I'm not gonna try and like pick on this guy for his name, but Josiah is exactly the kind of name I would think of for someone who is
putting up barns and editing genes.
yeah, like he's on the side creating something new with these gene editing things to take over the world.
Yeah. So back in 2017, he went on Twitter and did like a live feed and got all drunk and then injected himself with some CRISPR edited genes.
What was this? What was the point supposed to be?
He injected himself in the arm with what he said was DNA for the genetic engineering tool CRISPR. He stated the goal was for CRISPR Cas9 gene editing machinery to snip and disable Zahner's myostatin gene That's the gene that involves muscle growth.
He wanted no more muscles?
No, he wanted it not to stop or
Oh,
limit. He wanted
okay.
them to just keep building,
Okay.
which is ridiculously stupid.
Yeah.
And it's what's involved with muscle growth regulation before and after birth. I assume that it would make his idea was that it would make him easier. It would make it easier for him
Kind of like a...
to build muscle.
Right, like a steroid style.
Some people
thing.
have that. Some people genetically, we're so diverse that genetically, some people build muscle better than other people
Right.
because
like
of,
me.
Yeah, I mean, you are totally ripped. But me,
You
like,
got it.
like I could do weightlifting and I would never gain an ounce of muscle. I just would waste away. So I don't try. Just drink lots of Mountain Dew and keep the flab on because it's not worth trying.
You've hit your limit, and you.
I know what I am.
You know what you are.
I know what I am. Anyway, so he's now. So the thing is, there's by doing that, he like emboldened the rest of the community to start doing it. And he actually came out and said, I actually do regret doing that because I'm kind of like, he's in a place of power, right? Like
Yeah.
he's kind of leading in this weird, like crazy DIY biohacking scene. And so for him, it may have felt safe or he may have been confident, but like he just inspired a whole bunch of people that maybe aren't as skilled or as competent or have the money to go to the hospital.
Oh yeah.
You know, and they started doing the same thing, and it's only going to be a matter of time before his influence gets somebody killed. So the FDA is like investigating for it, saying that the use of this is like the selling of it is illegal because he gets basically he's been accused of practicing medicine without a license. But one of his favorite things one of his most famous things that he's done is trying to create a type of yeast that glows in the dark to make glow in the dark beer.
Oh.
So
I thought you were going to say glow in the dark bread. Beer makes more sense, I guess. I don't know.
So anyway,
A little bit less creepy than glow in the dark bread, too.
Yeah.
I'd eat glow in the dark bread.
I would do it.
I'm not saying I wouldn't, but
like night light.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, what happened? You
Snack.
You need a midnight snack, and you don't want to turn
Right?
the light on, so you go for the glow in the dark bread.
Yeah, or pretzels. I mean, there's so many.
Makes sense.
Practical.
Possibilities
Yeah.
are endless.
All right, here, Conrad, you have this. Bought a Nintendo Switch, haven't played it in a bit.
Yeah, we
So-
talked about it kind of in my
Well, I was going to
intro.
say what I'd like to ask you is, having been someone who waited, like 18 months, 2 years since the Switch came out, and
Was
got
it that long?
and got one. I think it was.
I did
Yeah.
the same thing.
Like, how do you feel about the purchase? Is it worth it? Do you think the games are good? Did it meet your expectations?
So I had to save up to buy it because I am not rich, and
You're
I
not
bought
buying,
it.
Not buying scooters every day, like
Yeah,
Jarron?
and so I bought it,
selling my old one.
and I kind of was like, okay, I have it, and then I was like, crap, I need games. I didn't have any money to buy games.
Yeah.
So I played a bunch of demos. I played they had a Pokemon demo, and then I played some other ones, like the Tetris game was free or something.
Oh,
and then
Tetris,
I borrowed
99.
Yeah, that one's fun. And then I borrowed whatever from you.
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
But you
Yeah,
haven't played Super Smash on it yet?
I've played on somebody else's, but I
Okay.
haven't bought it myself.
That makes
just
the whole
'cause
thing worth it.
It's more expensive.
Yeah.
But when we had the Wii U, we liked it for party, group games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think if I just buy one of those games, I'll play it a lot more.
Well, the hard part about the Switch on that one is now you got to buy a bunch of controllers,
Right.
And their controllers
So it's
are
just
expensive.
Yeah, it's
It
just
is
expensive. So I
pricey. think
think it's a great system, and I do love it, and everything feels so crisp and awesome.
Yeah.
But I think it's just expensive to own and
And
operate.
That was the interesting thing when the Switch first came out. It came out and it was cheaper than the other systems, but peripherals were more expensive than the other systems. So it's a weird trade-off. So what would you say, what kind of a score would you give it 2.5, 3 years into its system life, being a new user?
I don't know. How's the score system work?
Well, it's 1 out of 10.
Oh, okay. That's a good question. If it could play retro games, I would give it probably an 8 or 9, but because it can't.
It does. You just have to buy them.
Does it though?
Well, here's the thing. If you sign up for their online thing,
Yeah.
it's $15, I think,
For a year.
For the year.
Yeah.
They have 30 or 40 NES games that
you
are
have to,
free.
buy?
No, they're free with
Oh.
it.
I'll have to go look because I signed up for that.
And a lot of
Maybe I just need to
publishers
play it more.
a lot of publishers are putting out retro games themselves rather than through like what's that called? That was on the Wii.
The virtual console.
Virtual
Yeah.
console,
So like
yeah.
Sega has a bunch of games that they put out, and
They're usually pretty
SNK
cheap too.
does.
Like, don't they usually run like $7 or $8?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
you could get like Fantasy Star games.
Those
for
just
like
add
$8.
up, you know.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean,
I don't know, but I'd say like 7 or 8 on the console.
yeah.
Yeah. That's I really like it. I just don't take the time to play it as much as I want to.
Yeah, do you do most when you do play it? Is it mostly mobile or on your TV?
I've never played it on my TV.
Oh, really?
Never.
The only time I ever played on the TV is with you guys for Super Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah, I played it on someone else's on
Yeah.
Super Smash, but I always just like in bed have it.
That's usually how I play too.
'Cause if I'm going to play on a big screen, I'm going to be playing something with better graphics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are a few games where you don't notice the graphics, but they're designed to be that way. Like
True that.
Diablo 3 looks pretty much the same on Xbox
that's
One
true.
versus the Switch, or the Mario games. The art direction is so good that you don't really notice. But interesting. Did you guys see that Digital Foundry video recently where they showed how the overclock affects the Switch?
Yeah, that was interesting.
Pretty interesting. You should give it a look.
I looked into a bunch of Switch hacks, but I think mine's too new to like do some of the ones that I found. So
James has a hacked Switch.
He
I
had.
mean, he had a hacked Switch. Did
He
get
found
rid of
one. He found one, and he took care of it.
it? Yeah.
I think of like every device I ever buy, I end up jailbreaking or doing something. Like my iPhones, I always jailbroke them, and
Sounds about
every
right.
system I ever owned usually got jailbroken at some point.
Did you jailbreak your Xbox One?
No, but I also that's just sitting in a box in the basement, and I don't even play that.
No.
That thing got so boring. And every time I turn it on, it's like, wait, 4 hours for this
Yeah.
update.
Yeah,
So
that's the worst.
Well, if you leave it on and plugged in and connected to your network, it updates automatically.
yeah.
But-
So
That's just the main problem with modern systems and games in general.
Agreed.
If you don't game very much, you're kind of screwed.
yeah.
You turn it on like, oh,
I used
Like
to do
Owen
that.
said, time is money. So
30 minutes
you're just
later.
paying
Right.
more money.
Boom. That's what I'm saying.
wait. If I update my games while I ride my scooter to work, bam.
That's a win-win. Right
Ooh,
there.
Now that's multitasking, and I could get behind that.
Yeah.
Now you're a believer.
Yeah, if it takes me 30 minutes to update a game, but it takes me 18 minutes of that, like 30 minutes to ride to work, then I'm multitasking. I'm updating the games and
Indeed.
riding a scooter.
Yeah.
That's at least down to $1,000 crypto bullets minutes dollars.
Oh, and tell us about Microsoft Edge. They've been making some changes to it.
Yeah.
So first of all, they adopted the Chromium engine.
Yeah, they
right?
did. Yep. And now they're trying to get out from under the oppression of Chrome
How so?
by going to Mac. They're going to Apple.
Oh, they're going to try to take
They're
space
trying.
from,
They're
from
trying.
Apple's
They're-
browsers.
Mm-hmm. You think Apple's going to allow that
Oh yeah, they'll
mean,
let
they'll
let
let
it on
you.
there, but it won't never compete with Safari.
with Safari,
on
right?
Mac OS.
They said we're going to make it very Apple. That's what they said. We're going to make it feel as Mac as possible, or something like that. Which means they're going to code this version to integrate with the app. You know, I mean, Apple created their touch bar at the top.
Yeah.
They also have their own browser, right?
Yeah.
And it's very well integrated, the Safari and the touch bar there. Microsoft is going to attempt to get in there and make carve out something.
I don't think they stand a chance.
I mean, you don't even. It's not. You're not even just going against Mac, which is. They're like, oh yeah, come on in. Yeah, water's fine. We will definitely take your money to place your post your app on our site.
right.
Come on in. We allow anybody, but you're never going to get a user. An Apple, Jarron, would you install Microsoft Edge on your iPad or MacBook?
Absolutely.
You ruined it.
I don't think you would.
Nobody will. Nobody's going to do that.
Or if he did, he'd open it one time and be like, eh.
yeah. Oh, I guess. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well,
it worked.
The other problem is when you look at Microsoft web browsers, they are fighting against their own bad history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? you gave it a new name and everything, but
I mean, they were one of the first. So they were one of the first when they came out with Internet Explorer and competed with Netscape, you
Yeah.
know, and they won that battle. Like, but it has been plagued. Edge, especially, they kept the same icon. You
Which
don't
was a-
understand the
which was a
power of that
mistake.
because we switched to such a visual world
Yeah.
and touch screens that nobody looks at the Microsoft Edge icon and the Internet Explorer icon and goes, those are different.
Yep.
And most people, myself included, I would say, I don't know the difference between Edge and Internet Explorer. Functionally, they're both a web browser.
Yeah.
But apparently one is coded different and does better or worse. I don't actually know. Because I don't use Internet Explorer. I hate it completely.
Edge is a completely different engine than Internet Explorer.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's totally different code.
Yeah.
The old Edge. The
But
new
they
Edge
kept-
is
but
also
they-
a completely different engine.
But
Yeah.
they kept the same icon, and so to me,
Foolish. It was
To-
foolish. From
yeah.
a marketing standpoint, that was the dumbest thing they could have done.
Yeah.
It's the same program. It has the same icon.
people are like, why do they have two versions of the web browser installed on here? That's what I get all the time.
Yep.
And then they just go download Chrome. Like,
Or if they're, I ran into this, like people want to use Edge, and so they use it, and then there's a website that won't work on it, and so it pops up with a thing that says, "Do you want to open in Internet Explorer?"
right.
It's like, well, most
Well,
people just
I
go,
am.
aren't I in Internet Explorer?
I'm actually very excited for the new Edge. I'll probably use it because it uses Chromium, so I'll get all my extensions.
That's
It'll
what I
be,
need too.
It'll be fast like Chromium. They have an IE container within the new Edge, which is cool. So all the legacy
Oh,
stuff.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so all the legacy stuff I have to use at work will continue to work.
I'll give it a shot, but I doubt
Chrome
it's
already
gonna
Chrome
pull
already
me.
has that extension for classic IE in there. You can get two, right?
I don't know.
Assuming you have IE installed on your system. When they release the new Edge, I'm not sure if
Yeah.
IE will only exist within that.
If you're running Windows, then it would like sudo a
Right.
IE browser inside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. It would pop up an IE browser
Yeah.
inside of Chrome, and everything would run.
But I used to use that
Yeah.
for things that needed it.
This looks a lot more slick though. Their
Yeah.
IE.
Anyway,
extension.
they're trying to carve out some space on Apple on the Mac OS, and I just think that it's a losing battle. Not because even on their own system, on a Windows system, they're already fighting like their brand
Yeah.
because they didn't change the icon visually enough to make a difference, and they haven't really explained enough why Edge is better than Internet Explorer or Chrome or anything.
Exactly.
I could see the use case though. Like, there's multiple people that use multiple OSs. I'm one of them, and so if I want to keep all my tabs synced, use the same browser between systems.
Do you use Safari and Chrome? Is that the two you use? Firefox?
I use Firefox at work, Chrome at home, Safari on my mobile devices. I'm kind of everywhere.
I'm a Chrome and
You're a-
Firefox guy.
You're a mess.
Yeah, I can't commit. Not to a scooter, not to a browser.
Nothing.
Anyway, I think not only are they fighting their own brand, but they're fighting the pure fanatical fan base of Apple.
Oh yeah.
The
people that use.
I know
Apple.
people that Chrome
Be
is
like,
a better fit for what they're doing. It has the extensions they need for the applications that we are using. This is for work a lot of times, but they choose to still use Safari just because it's the Apple approved Mac created
Right.
browser.
Safari is wonderful on iOS. Like,
is.
it's awesome, but it's not that great on Mac OS, I
Yeah.
think.
Yep.
Interesting. All right, I think we're going to close on a question from James. Since he's not here, he sent us a question that he wants us to talk about.
He's here in spirit.
He says, "What exactly is an internet browser?"
So, James,
It's a program that renders HTML,
Yep.
CSS, and JavaScript.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
And does the DNS lookups for you.
It takes-
well, the
yeah.
router does that, but
It takes the ones and zeros from the internet and makes it so you can see
picture.
it visually in a picture.
I don't know if that was the right answer.
I mean, that's
That's like basically what it does, though, right?
pretty accurate if you ask me.
Should we just Google it?
if
mean,
you
you
take
could.
if
Gonna
you take
Google his
apart
question.
it's okay for those out there, go to any web page that you're on and go view source. Go to view source. That's what you're looking at when
That'll
you
sh-
look at a web page.
Right, that'll show you the non-rendered version of it.
An internet browser takes that gobbledygook of text and turns it into a nice bunch of pictures with pop-up ads so that you can buy stuff.
That's
The
right.
tech
That's it.
term says it's just an application or simply browser used to access and view websites.
Yeah.
So even
you go.
more simple than what we said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it so you can look at your cat memes.
Yeah.
He has 2 follow-up questions. How
Yeah.
how difficult would it be to surf the internet if I didn't have a browser?
Well, I think we kind of
learn
answered
to,
that.
Learn to read HTML
Yeah.
and you'll be fine.
Use
Yeah.
curl.
Yeah.
It would be
Start curling
impossible.
websites. In
Yeah. In your brain.
It would be impossible, James.
Get some bio. If maybe that's the next thing is to get some contacts, like smart contacts that decipher HTML or something and broadcast around your eye.
How hard would it be to make my own browser? Probably not that hard. Just join the Chromium open source project and steal most of the code.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't have to steal it because it's open source.
right, yeah.
I mean, you could just
Right.
take it and modify. I
I
mean,
think it'd be pretty difficult.
it would still be pretty hard.
I mean,
yeah.
once you got it to work, then you'd have to get people to use it. And we just talked about how people aren't going to do that even with really, really hyped up browsers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he says, I have 2 5G networks in my house, but one of them works better than the other. Why? What is another good reason?
He doesn't have 5G networks.
Oh.
No. They're
5 gigahertz.
5
networks is
gigahertz
what
on
I'm
his
5G
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
And the reason one works better than the other is probably because it's a better router.
Or
Yeah.
interference.
Or
Well, it's
yeah.
got 2 radios, right? So there's 2 radios on his router, and they're both broadcasting a 5G signal.
Gigahertz.
And, yeah, 5 gigahertz.
Not
signal.
5G.
Not 5G.
That's
5
different.
gigahertz. It's been abbreviated to 5G.
If you
but
look
then
at the
all of a sudden
router, it says
5G,
5G or 2.4G.
now 5G is becoming this new fantastic
Buzzword.
broadband speed.
Not to
thing.
be confused with 5G.
Right. The cellular
Yeah.
network.
But
Well,
5G is super susceptible to interference,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
It is definitely.
And it can't go as far.
right or penetrate as much.
Yeah.
It's a high
matter.
because of the frequency is higher, and so it doesn't penetrate.
So,
So it's
question
possible-
for James, what's in front of your router?
Yeah, so it's possible
Yeah.
one router is hidden more than the other.
Or one radio is interfering with the other radio,
Or they
taking
both
up the.
suck.
I mean, most routers will it will sense what channel the other radio is on.
and automatically change,
But
but not always.
The reason for that is because a lot of times the radios, if you look at a Wi-Fi, I haven't done it for a long time, but if you look at it with a scanner, it creates a donut shape, the radio, and so sometimes they'll do that to broadcast stronger radios, or so you can tilt the radios different ways because the way your antenna is coming off your router determines the geometric
kind
direction.
of the way. The
You
way
guys can't see, but Owen's doing a lot of hand work right
hand
now.
hand
lot.
movements. You can change the.
He's moving these antennas.
You can move the antennas and change the shape of the donut,
So,
or aka Wi-Fi signal.
I liked his last question. I don't know if you guys were going to read all these. I just started reading them.
Oh, that's fine.
But he says, what is another good reason to have a VPN besides illegally downloaded content off the internet?
That's actually a fairly good question because a lot of people automatically go straight to I want a VPN so I can torrent stuff.
Right.
But there is more to it than that.
Way more.
Yeah.
I would say the biggest reason you would want a VPN is to protect your data from companies that want to monetize it and target ads
When you're not at your
That-
house, right?
Yeah. And I mean, from the second you turn on a computer on the internet, you have a digital footprint. And your ISP, whether you like it or not, is collecting information about everything you're doing. And every site that you access is collecting information about what you're doing or what you're viewing or where you're clicking or where you're hovering.
Exactly.
And a VPN just helps you become more anonymous and to hide behind kind of a door that kind of shields you from some of that.
So to join Anonymous, you need a VPN?
Yes. Join
Probably.
anonymous.
I would
Anyway.
definitely use a VPN. First of all, I wouldn't join Anonymous.
I mean, one of the biggest security scams out there right now is open Wi-Fi at hotels. Hotels, by and large, even more, the Wi-Fi access points at Airbnbs and stuff
Yeah.
like that have even started. There's
There's-
people that have started to go, oh, that data is valuable.
Yep.
And so you connect to their Wi-Fi router, and then they can see what you type in, like whether that's passwords. A lot of times you go to a plain text password, a site that's not quite secure enough, and they'll just snag that password. They don't need to get onto your Audible account, but maybe you're one of those people that use the same password for
For a lot of
all
stuff.
your sites,
Yeah.
right? And so the VPN, obfuscates who you are, locks it up a little bit.
It's an
Yeah.
added layer of security protection. You have one built in on any website that uses HTTPS. That already encrypts all traffic.
Yeah.
But to add VPN on top of it just makes you extra.
I mean, it encrypts
Extra
it.
safe.
It encrypts it between you and the site, but the site those people can still take.
Yes, yeah.
You know, they still know.
Yeah.
And so,
But the data as the data moves from your laptop or phone to their website, it is encrypted over HTTPS, so no one else can see it. But it's not always not all websites use HTTPS,
right?
You know.
So, and then on top of a VPN, I don't always use one, but I do use this Chrome plugin called Disconnect, which will disconnect any tracking sites from tracking what you're doing.
Oh, that's cool.
So, like Google, tracking thing, analytics, and
right.
other sites. So, I pulled it up. I'm on Ars Technica. It's blocking 39 different tracking sites.
39.
And it builds a little wire map so you can see like what's tracking you.
That's pretty cool.
And it breaks some sites, like
Right,
some
because
that
they can
use-
detect it.
well, sometimes I'm like, where's the like I want to download this, but it's not there because my
Or
App
other
blocked
sites will be like,
Oh,
we
went up to
notice you're
40
blocking
now.
this, and that's how we pay for our
Yeah.
site. So could you unblock that, please?
like scorecardresearch.com being blocked, google.com, skimresources.com, like all these just random things that are tracking what you're doing, and they sell that information. They're like, hey, this user did that. And then when you come back with your same IP, they're like, hey, last time you looked at pictures of puppies, guess what? We're going to sell you this picture of a puppy.
Exactly. Yeah. You might search for phone cases one day, and then all of a
I've seen
sudden
nothing but phone cases
yeah, all
for
of a
like
sudden
a year.
Yep. You go to Facebook, and all the ads are phone cases.
And it used to be
or-
that it used to be websites would just
whatever.
track your cookies like religiously, like, and you could clear them out and do that. But now they create more of a digital footprint. They can get your MAC address or your IP address and stuff like
for
that,
sure.
and just keep a tab on you. They don't know who you are. That's the goal. Like the ultimate advertising goal is to put a metric to, like, we have this huge footprint digitally of this user, but who is he? What's his income? What ethnicity?
Yeah.
And that's where the real data is really like the
That's where
Facebook data breach, like with
Yeah.
with all that.
That's where it becomes A, really valuable.
Yep.
And B, also really sensitive.
Right.
You
Yep.
know.
How much money does this person make? What class are they in? Like what ethnicity? What financial class? What tax bracket? Like all that
Yep.
stuff. If they could,
What's their spending habits?
Is there
you
that
know?
movie or is it a show I watched where they like were talking about this and they're like, yeah, so we know if we show this person like ads for a Burger King coupon, like within 2 weeks he will go to Burger King and buy a burger or something.
Predictable. Like
That's
if you could
crazy.
take the guesswork out of advertising and just say, you will get, if you show 100 people this coupon, 30% of them will buy
Yeah.
a burger.
You could like
period.
guarantee that.
Like that's what they
You're-
go for.
Costa Vita's got it down. They send me that $5 burrito. I'm there for lunch
Done.
every time.
What?
Every time.
What is this that you're
On
talking
the app?
about?
You don't have the app?
I have the app. It
Oh, man.
hasn't let me sign in for months though.
Like every other week I'm getting $5 burritos. I'm like,
Jeez, I got to get on top of that.
yeah. Anyway, they're doing it right. But
Interesting.
hope that
Interesting.
answers James's question.
Yeah, thanks for the questions, James. Sorry you couldn't be here, man, but you're off on vacation.
I'm not
or
sorry.
Whatever, yeah.
I thought it was a business trip.
Conrad's okay with it. Is it business trip this time and vacation in 2 weeks?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I can't keep it straight with him.
Yeah. All right, I think we're all done. Thanks for making it to the end. Conrad, thanks for being on today.
Thanks for having me again. I was happy to
appreciate-
be here.
We appreciate it, and always a good time. Owen, I think we're... Wait, what were you
I was going to say I'll have to play more games next time.
Yeah.
You didn't give me much warning this time.
You know what? Play some more games. Play the Zelda game that he borrowed from me 2 months ago.
Boy, he's brought that up a lot. He
Yeah.
sounds bitter.
Do you have another game I can borrow? I'll give you that one back.
He just wants you to be
I
as
know.
miserable as he and
That's-
uninterested as he is.
Yeah.
That's my only physical game for the Switch. I have all the rest are digital.
All right.
Sorry, man.
Me too.
Anyway.
Okay, Owen, why don't you take us out, man?
Hey, we hope you care.
Gadget Spot.